Indonesians before independence weren't treated well nor poorly. Early on, they were forced to give much of their crops for export, 20%. However, as time went by, they were treated more kindly and were given free rein as long as they didn't conflict too much with the Netherlands. They were given access to European educations. The idea of independence was something that circulated Indonesia prior to and during World War II. It was really allowed to take off when Indonesia was invaded by Japan, essentially isolating them from the Netherlands. And they were able to explore their nationalistic agenda. The movement failed to get any sort of global recognition as it was perceived as a product of fascists influenced by the Japanese. It wasn't until the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, with Netherlands being forced back, that Indonesia gained their independence. The Battle of Surabaya, the first battle for independence movement. By the time the Allied forces arrived at the end of October 1945, the Bermuda had been footholded in Surabaya city, which was described as the strong united fortress. Fighting broke out on the 30th of October after the British commander, Brigadier A.W.S. Malaby, was killed in a skirmish. The British retaliated with a punitive sweep that began on the 10th of November, under the cover of air attacks. Although the European forces largely captured the city in 3 days, the poorly armed Republicans fought for 3 weeks, and thousands died as the population fled to the countryside. Despite the military defeat suffered by the Republicans and a loss of manpower and weaponry would severely hamper the Republican forces for the rest of the revolution, the battle and the defence mounted by the Indonesians galvanised the nation in support of independence and helped garner international attention. Between 6,000 and 16,000 Indonesian freedom fighters died, and 200,000 civilians fled the city. The other side lost about 2,000 men. After the Japanese invaded Indonesia, they sought out nationalists, anti-European leaders to seek their collaboration. Some of these nationalist forces fought against the Japanese, just as they had the Dutch. But others collaborated, such as Sukarno. Sukarno detested all things traditionally Indonesian, and was very anti-capitalist, pro-egalitarian socialist. He despised the monarchies of Indonesia, chastising them for practicing feudalism and allowing Dutch colonial rule to take over control. His speeches generated a buzz that could be attributed to the nationalist uprising following World War II. Sukarno was willing to support the Japanese in exchange for a platform for him to spread nationalist ideas. This country, the Republic of Indonesia, does not belong to any group, nor any religion, nor to any ethnic group, nor to any group with customs and traditions, but the property of all of us. By the end of 1944, Japanese Prime Minister Kukinano Koisho promised Sukarno that the independence would come. At the end of World War II, on August the 17th, 1945, Sukarno declared independence and became the first president of Indonesia, shortly after Britain decided to interfere. He was in power from the 18th of August 1945 to the 12th of March 1967. Following the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the United Nations ordered several ceasefires from 1948 all the way until 1949. While most of them went into action, they were only temporary. Operation Karai would be the exemption to this. Operation Karai was a Dutch offensive on the Indonesian Republic capital, Yogyakarta. The campaign lasted from December 1948 till January 1949 and resulted in the capture of the Indonesian President Sukarno. On the 24th of December, the United Nations Security Council called for all hostilities to end. Pressure from the USA was also at play. They threatened to remove funding for Dutch post-World War II rebuilding. The USA funding had totaled at $1 billion, and the Netherlands government had spent a similar amount in Indonesia. The perception was the US was only supporting an imperialistic endeavour. The Dutch, under much global scrutiny, announced a ceasefire in Java on the 31st of December, and on the 5th of January in Sumatra. The guerrilla war continued, however, until the 19th of May. with the signing of the Rovan-Rojan Agreement. Indonesia got independence, and while they still do have monarchies within their country, they only have symbolic power. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is what helped give Indonesia its recognition and its own republic, with the Netherlands bending to the pressure placed onto them by the declaration and allowing Indonesia to operate as an independent state. Following the documents released in 1949, specifically to Article 15, 1. Everyone has the right to a nationality. 2. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality nor denied the right to change his nationality, which can be seen echoed in President Suharto's speeches prior to the declaration. The success of Indonesia's independence also influences other countries within the area, creating a certain snowball effect, with nations like Vietnam, Burma, soon receiving their independence.